Okay, maybe I spoke a little bit too soon when I said that this weekend was going to be a really quiet one. What can I say? Apparently some things can and will in fact surprise you in big ways. And yesterday, particularly in the afternoon, you had that going on in spades. First things first, good morning and happy Monday, everybody. So let's get to the first thing that legitimately excited me. Now, you guys know that while I'm not I do like, all sports. I do try and follow, actually, before I even start, I need to make one little bit of housekeeping. The NLL team that my brother from TP plays on, he plays for the San Diego Seals. I wanted to clear that up. So, I guess as of right now, the San Diego Seals are now my favorite lacrosse team in the National Lacrosse League. For professional lacrosse or whatever. So, pretty much whatever team he's on is pretty much whatever team my brother is on, I'm definitely going to be rooting for that team. So, until he gets traded or something, he's going to, or whatever, I'm going to be rooting for the San Diego Seals. When I mentioned that he played professional lacrosse, his team, the Seals actually won that night, and he posted on his Instagram his victory meal, so he got himself some In-N-Out. I've had In-N-Out once. It was just a simple burger, but it was a good burger. So, I'm the last person who should ever be part of the whole debate on whether In-N-Out or Shake Shack is better. I mean, it's really up to, your taste. I mean, the only way you're ever going to get a true definitive way of knowing which is the best is if you somehow manage to get an In-N-Out and a Shake Shack literally right next door to each other, and you get the best cooks from each place to prepare the burger in question for you to try. So yeah, there's that. With that said, how about I get into the real meat and potatoes of what happened yesterday? So, again, football is usually my main thing, but while I don't really talk about it much, I do like basketball, and again, my knowledge of basketball or basketball related things in general really isn't the greatest, but there's some. And I certainly know a good game when I see one. So, bearing that in mind, how about we talk about Duke and UCF, shall we? Holy cow, my heart, to be perfectly honest, I know Duke is the number one seed, and, for the most part, my father roots for Duke, so, I'll check out this game. Why not? It seems like fun or whatever. And I actually got a little more invested than I thought possible. That Zion Williamson, that player is going places when he gets drafted into the NBA. Don't know what team he'll go on or what, or who knows? Maybe he could be. Hopefully he's not a bust. I certainly hope not. I never wish that on anyone. That would be, you make it into a professional athletic league of, any sport, you never want them to fail. Whether you like them as a person or not, because, they make it to the big stage. You want to see him perform well. You want to see him succeed. And even if you don't necessarily like him, you can't help but be interested in watching. So, that's really cool. So, UCF had one of the tallest people in the world, 7 foot tall, whatever. And he got fouled out at the very end of the game. And at that point, I'm thinking, okay, Duke could probably take it home just as long as, because Duke had like the winning shot, and the final score was 77-76, but UCF, had the ball, and they had to dribble it on the court and score, which seems simple enough. But this is a pretty heated game. The athletes are obviously tired after playing for as long as they did. You'd feel it too. Anyone would feel it. I mean, there's no such thing as being able to give 100% on every single play or whatever you do in sports. It is impossible to be able to do that. And that's fine. I mean, the fact that you can't give 100% all the time really just shows that you're human, which is awesome. So, there we go. So, yeah. I do feel bad that Syracuse is out because, my mother and father are both Syracuse alums. And I actually graduated high school with the now head cheerleading coach of Syracuse University. So, I do feel kind of bad. But, it's always a real treat to make it there at all. And, I wasn't expecting Syracuse to go necessarily that far, especially since I do believe one of their players is out for doing something bad or something. I forget. Again, my knowledge of basketball in general really isn't the greatest. But the Duke UCF game was easily the big game of the day. Number 1 seed Duke, number 9 seed UCF, and Duke won, as you may very well expect from a number 1 seed. But UCF, I think a year from now they'll come back with a vengeance. And if they just build up that, I think that kid's name is Taco Fall. If they, build him up, give him a year, make him stronger, UCF is going to be a contender. And that's, that's going to be really good. So now I do believe now we're in the Sweet 16, I believe. So that's neat. Although I always find it rather odd that, sorry, I almost yawned there. I feel rather odd that March Madness starts like mid to late March as opposed to actually starting in the beginning of March. I mean, yeah, you have, ACC tournament and, stuff like that, which I get, but you would think if it's called March Madness, it would last the entirety of March. So, that's just my 2 cents on that. Although, again, yesterday's game that was Duke and UCF was probably one of the best and will probably be one of the most talked about games going forward. Probably even more so than when the Notre Dame women's team won the whole thing last year. That was really cool. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Now we get into the other thing that I wanted to discuss. If you remember, a couple of days ago, I talked about one of the biggest NFL busts in history, Johnny Manziel, and how he went from playing in Canada to now he's playing for the Alliance of American Football, and he's now playing for the Memphis Express, which is coached by Mike Singletary, who played on arguably the baddest team in all the land, the 1985 Chicago Bears. Now, I thought that since Johnny Manziel, or Johnny Football as his nickname was called, because he was the first freshman to ever win the Heisman Trophy, that was the name he was given, I thought he was going to start playing like next year or whatever, but no. He gets to Memphis for 3 days, and he's able to play, apparently, which, okay, I guess that works. Which, with a story like Johnny Football, you're going to get people who want to watch. It's basically what I just alluded to earlier. You're going to get people who want to watch this athlete play. You're going to fill seats. You're going to make money. It's lucrative, which, depending on your opinion, it can be a good or a bad thing. So, with that said, you think that they would immediately start Johnny Manziel and it would immediately turn Memphis' season around? Well, let's talk about what ended up happening. They actually waited a couple of a series, just so Johnny Manziel can actually watch how a game works before they actually put him in, which is smart. So after, I think it was the 4th series that Memphis played, they finally put Johnny Manziel in. Like, the whole crowd is screaming, Johnny, 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 Johnny. And for his first drive, I have to say, it was pretty good. Like, it was literally the first time anyone has probably seen Johnny football play on American soil in years. So, this was a pretty big deal. And he actually did okay. I mean, he wasn't perfect. Not by any means. In fact, as time went on, he started playing not as well, but that's not necessarily his fault. See, even if you take out the problems that Johnny Manziel had aside when he was first drafted to the Browns, way back in 2012 or 2014? 2014. Yeah, anyway, when he was first drafted, the Cleveland Browns then really weren't that very good of a team. So, with bearing that in mind, Johnny Manziel can play, and we definitely did see flashes in last night's game. But you need to surround him with good players. Not that Memphis doesn't have any bad players, not at all. But it was a combination of that and the fact that the plays they were running just really weren't that well executed. Then again, Johnny Manziel only just arrived several days before the game, so of course it's going to be difficult. They didn't even use Johnny for the 2-minute warning, which makes sense because playing QB is one thing, but playing QB during the final 2 minutes of a half, whether it's before halftime or the end of the game, that's an entirely different animal. So I can respect the decision to not use Johnny football for the 2-minute warning. But I can say this. If Johnny Manziel doesn't play, Memphis doesn't do the unthinkable and beat Birmingham. Memphis won! I was wrong. But you know what? I was happy to be wrong. Very happy to be wrong. So, yeah. The very first time Johnny Manziel plays on American soil for the first time in years. And while I didn't play the entire game, in fact, that Silvers, the guy Silvers, the QB that Memphis is currently using, he's pretty decent. Played for most of it, but I think if Johnny Manziel didn't play yesterday, I'm saying things that are wildly different from what I'm saying right now. I'll leave it at that. So, am I going to continue watching? Well, I haven't really stopped watching lots of American football yet, so why am I going to stop now? So, yeah. This is a pretty good weekend overall. Maybe it really is. Maybe this tie really is still lucky after all these years. Or, I don't know. Maybe. But yeah. I'm already looking forward to this upcoming weekend too. But that's because something's going on this weekend that I'll definitely keep you guys posted on as we get closer to it. So like, favorite, share, and hit that subscribe button. I could really use the support on YouTube. Follow me on the social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. As always, I am very humble I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I am hopeful that we all have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Remember, just because it's Monday doesn't mean that it has to be a bad day. You can always find something good on a Monday. Just gotta look for it. And remember, if any of you guys ever want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear, and I'll always have your back. So take care, and make good choices, everybody. See ya.